got your handout. It's going to be a great year this year. I can already see tons of people coming to church. So I've been reading a really good book this last week called Think and Grow Rich. And one part that's really very interesting is there's self-evaluation questions. So they're on the back of the sheet that you have. In case you didn't get one, look in the front of your chair. There are some that are in color, some that are in black and white. On the back of it is a list of self-reflection questions. So I'm going to read them out loud. And this is a take-home test, meaning you take home the paper and then you just think about it throughout the week. 1. Have I obtained the goal which I established as my objective for this year? 2. Have I delivered service to the best possible quality of which I was capable, or could I have improved any part of this service? 3. Have I delivered service in the greatest possible quantity of which I was capable? 4. Has the spirit of my conduct been harmonious and cooperative at all times? 5. Have I permitted the habit of procrastination to decrease my efficiency, and if so, to what extent? 6. Have I improved my personality, and if so, in what ways? 7. Have I been persistent in following my plans through to completion? 8. Have I reached decisions promptly and definitely on all occasions? 9. Have I permitted any one or more of the 6 basic fears to decrease my efficiency? 10. Have I been either over-cautious or under-cautious? 11. Has my relationship with my associates in work been pleasant or unpleasant? If it has been unpleasant, has the fault been partly or wholly mine? 9. Have I dissipated any of my energy through lack of concentration or effort? 13. Have I been open-minded and tolerant in connection with all subjects? 14. In what way have I improved my ability to render service? 15. Have I been intemperate in any of my habits? 16. Have I expressed either openly or secretly any form of egotism? 17. Has my conduct toward my associates been such that it has induced them to respect me? 18. Have my opinions and decisions been based upon guesswork or accuracy of analysis and thought? 19. Have I followed the habit of budgeting my time, my expenses, and my income, and have I been conservative in these budgets? 20. How much time have I devoted to unprofitable effort, which I might have used to better advantage? 21. How may I rebudget my time and change my habits so I will be more efficient during the coming year? 22. Have I been guilty of any conduct which was not approved by my conscience? 23. In what ways have I rendered more service and better service than I was paid to render? 24. Have I been unfair to anyone, and if so, in what way? 25. If I had been the purchaser of my own services for the year, would I be satisfied with my purchase? 26. Am I in the right vocation, and if not, why not? 27. Has the purchaser of my services been satisfied with the service I rendered, and if not, why not? And 28. What is my present rating on the fundamental principles of success? Make this rating fairly and frankly, and have it checked by someone who is courageous enough to be honest. Now, if you look at the top of this sheet, see that square, that box in the top, upper left-hand corner? This is something I'm going to be talking about every month. It's a question of how we can figure out numbers in our own life to evaluate ourselves. If you notice about the questions we just read through, one of the questions we're asking you to evaluate other people's lives, were they? They're basically looking at self-evaluation and how you can improve your life. Because really the way you inspire people is if you improve your own life, then you get better and people are like, wow, what happened? And then you can share your testimony. Does that make sense? So if you look on the other side, see how it says Sacramento Valley Family Church? These are the questions that we should be thinking about and talking about when we come to church. Lower right-hand corner is, how's my relationship with money? And also, how's my relationship with people? Who here has read the Divine Principle? The Divine Principle states that the process of restoration is changing the purpose of this world from building a bad world to building the kingdom of heaven on earth. In order to build the kingdom of heaven on earth, you need results. And results based upon the teaching of Unification Church and Formula Course are 2 things based upon Jacob's Course. And that is restoration of all things and restoration of people. So the way that you establish a healthy, blessed family, if you're not married, something you'll do in the future, is that is you need to restore all things and restore people. So the purpose of coming to church on Sunday is to evaluate your life and think about, how was I during this last week? How much did I restore in terms of all things? And how much did I restore in terms of relationship with people? So these are actually numbers. For college students, you can think of, when you get out of college, you're going to be thinking, okay, based upon my education, how much money am I going to make? It's a very clear number. And also a very clear number is how you build good relationships with people. So the purpose of this chart on here is I'm going to be going over every month how each of us can think of making a clear grading system for our own lives to improve ourselves. You know, who here did fundraising in our church? What's the first thing that the team captain asks when he comes back to the van? What is your result? So what is the purpose of Sunday service? The purpose of Sunday service is for you to evaluate your own life and think about, what is your result for this week? In terms of all things, how much money did you make? And how is your relationship with people? Everybody in this room in the next 12 months could double the amount of money they're making. Everybody. Do you believe that? I believe that. Heavenly Father, please bless these people so they can double what they're making this next year. You can do it. But to do it, you got to think that you can do it first. And that second thing is, everybody here, think about the person you hate the most. Okay, don't think of your spouse. Everybody here can improve, double the relationship value with that person in the next year. So basically, this chart is talking about how you evaluate, how you build the process of restoration. So really, the first thing you have to do is realize that there's a process. If you look on your chart, on the left-hand side, it says unchurched. To the right-hand side, which is the blue circle, you notice there's a bunch of bridges going across. That's the process of restoration, which I'm going to be explaining more fully in the future as we go through this process to explain it. But the first thing we have to actually do is to invite people from outside the church into the church. So what's the one way that we can change the total atmosphere of this church in the next year? What's the one thing? It's in red. So at some point, this group of people is going to be inviting 1,000 people to church. My guess is maybe in the last 10 years, that this group of people has invited 1,000 people. Maybe. The reality, that number has to be switched from 1,000 invitations in 10 years to 1,000 invitations in a year, down to 1,000 invitations in a month, down to 1,000 invitations in a week, down to each family is inviting this group is inviting 1,000 people a day, and that's possible. Who believes it's possible to increase the number of people that are invited to church every year? I mean, you can go online and do Facebook ads and invite 1,000 people automatically every day to Sunday service. You have to pay for it, but you can do that. You can put a Facebook ad up for 18 to 25-year-olds within a 25-mile radius of this location, and every week you would know that you're inviting 1,000 people. So what is the value of these bridges at the bottom? Is that's, you know, who has to pay for people to cross that bridge? The people in Sunday service have to pay to bring the people over here. So you have to pay, it's called the process of restoration. You have to pay money to invite people to Sunday service. So we have one quote to think about this year, or this week, this month. That's why it's on this piece of paper here. So you can stick it in the necessary room. So when you sit down to pray, you can read it. Let's read it out loud. You start out in home church, then tribe church, nation church, and universe church. It's all up to you now. Go ahead. Home church is the beginning. After you do that, you can do as much as you like, but home church is the bare minimum. So the reality is our first responsibility is what? To establish our home as a place where God can dwell. So these circles in the top talk about worship. So when we come to church on Sunday, we should be thinking, 1, how is our relationship to God? 2, fellowship. How is our relationship with our family members? Who in their family feels they had a little bit of lack of fellowship in their family this week? Anybody argue with their spouse this week? Anybody argue with their children this week? Discipleship. Who knows the definition of the word discipleship? What is discipleship? What is Cain-Abel unity? Were Abel and Cain supposed to unite upon Abel's personality? That's what the Bible shows, that Cain and Abel tried to unite on Abel's personality. And what's the proof that Abel was an idiot? He got killed. The reality is, discipleship is a better way to look at the Cain and Abel relationship because it's taking the focus off the personality and focusing on truth. What is a way to improve this situation? That is a process of discipleship. Not about just forcing people to follow somebody, but how do you bring God's word into the situation to improve the situation? Second is ministry, and the last one is evaluation, is evangelism. So that's it, guys. You've got one quote to think about this week that's starting out in home church, and a bunch of evaluation questions. So the action step is to think about what you can do to transform your own family into a place where God can dwell.